me try this. Actually, let me try something else real quick. Do that. Yeah, that's not where it should be. And this is back. This should be fine. I think if I need anything that, are we live? I think it worked this time. Let's go. Alrighty. We're going, Dad.
We're ramping.
We're ramping. In fact, we're ramping so well that I don't know what the fuck I want to do. I have a lot to do if I do Laye, but I should probably do some Laye first. Yeah, I've changed everything. Let's... Message file, Sicily Lexer, and Sicily Parser. So this is, I think it's all in Sicily though, so this should be fine. Expected something, so Lexer.h in Sicily. Yep, I did. I missed that. Okay, linker command failed because Sicily parse doesn't exist. Undefined cget tokens. Parser C75. Parser C. Cget tokens is defined in Lexer.c. Okay. Did I not include Lexer.c when building Sicily? I don't know what it's building for. So this one is coming for ISC 0. Okay. Hello. Zoom in so I can read YouTube chat. There we go. Aquais, how's it going? ISC 0 is missing. ISC 1 is probably missing the Lexer. Now, ISC 1 doesn't need it. ISC 1, we're going to change how it works. ISC 0 is the legacy. So if I knob it now, again, couple of warnings, hell of a lot of goddamn going on. Okay, I think we're going again. I can run tests, make sure we big something. Struct template is still in progress. We'll figure out the rest of struct template eventually, maybe today, probably not because my brain hurts. Okay, so what do I actually want to work on? Let's see. I could continue working on the C parser, that would be fun. I could work on the driver overhaul that's in progress. Do those, get that out of the way so I have a bookmark to come back to. So I do. I see. Sicily. Work on also the Laye parser eventually. Not right now. Let's see. I do. Compiler is Laye C0. Laye C one is going to be primary compiler for Laye. We might want to start setting up to simplify some things because I'm starting to have a real pain in the ass time with the driver, but it's not mandatory. Let me pull up. Go to my issues. So I could do var inference, that'd be pretty quick. We're in the middle of templates. We've got templates through parsing basically, and we've started Sema on them, but I don't want to do them right now. Constructors are half done. I could do floats, maybe. Floats are going to be a problem. Yeah, let me see. These are both enhancements I want to do. I've been putting them off for 2 months. Let's see. Nullable types operator. Where's my float stuff? Float literals and native operations for floats here. These are the two I'm thinking of. I don't have any description, basically. Something is weird with them. This will probably end up being like prefix operators, better binary operator resolution. Huh. Float literals, though. Float. So we can set up some tests for floats. That might be worth doing. Nullable is going to take forever. I'm not going to do that on stream right now. This is for knob and this is for the compiler. I might just do CLI stuff because it's pretty brainless. CAVI is going to be hard. That's going to take some time. Wrapping, that's going to do that with the other ones. This is pretty easy, but I don't want to do it. Yeah, let's just start with the easy shit. I'm going to work on this driver update. Dad, how's your dating going?
How's my what?
How's your dating going?
Dating?
Yeah, how's your dating going?
Good, I guess.
Oh, you were telling me all about your dating, and now you just stopped talking.
Oh, I stopped. I switched to Apex because
Oh, wow. Now that I'm streaming, you want Apex.
yeah.
Wow. I see how it is.
I see, not how.
Hey, what? Okay,
You
let's
don't know, dude.
see what I want to support in regular args parsing and compatibility args parsing. I want to be able to print usage from somewhere as well, so we'll probably have to add these. So we have args parse. Let's get this off the side here.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, hi, Twitchy. Twitchy's from the back of my chair. Chilling.
I need args to print usage? No, not really. Oh, print to a lot. At args.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, what are you saying? Hello, Lubos. How's it going? This in driver.
What are you streaming on? YouTube or?
Yeah, YouTube.
Okay.
I'll put, not that it really matters, but I'll do these in this order. That make more sense if I keep them in the same order over here. Oh, the build tool is elsewhere, that's right.
Same.
Is used anywhere else? It's in Laye.h, that's
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so in the regular args parse, we don't give a shit about compatibility. That args parse, we want to handle like BCC and Clang args. So something I want to start doing is some asserts. Let me do, because I want to throw an assert in here. Let me do like LCA assert. That's something I'm going to want. And I can say LCA assert something. We're going to here. I want to assert the arms with the null with the message.
I stuck with the wingman, so I'm going to try to use the wingman.
Nice. I was doing that yesterday. I had like 5 to 10 minutes of really good wingman stuff, and then I couldn't play anymore. Lubos, I'm working on right now, at least, a compiler for a programming language that I've made. Still trying to get it. Some of its basic features still need to be fleshed out. It looks like, let's grab a test file, something that's more exciting. We haven't done, for example, struct templating or function templating yet, but we're in the process of implementing that. I'm going to scroll down. Actually, I have examples. Examples are better than tests. Let's see. Examples. Like this. It's basically just my take on C. It's got imports, it's got namespacing, but it's otherwise just structs and statements and calls and yield fashioned everything. So we're writing a compiler for this language. There's a couple of other things I might switch to depending on where my brain goes. I'm also trying to write a fantasy console and then have the compiler target. So we might get more streams on writing the emulator or the assembler for it at some point. Need to figure out what kind of language I want, what architecture to make. But for right now, we're just working on a compiler. For fun. For nothing other than fun. I want to have a language. So we're going to assert Rx is not equal to null. And like, I don't always want a message. So, I mean, I don't know why my brain is hurting. What do I want to do with an assert if I don't want a message? I could just do an empty string. I guess that's fine. If you pass an empty string or null or something, that just feels wrong to assert with an empty. So I'd like to do this. Say, I don't know, like just args. It doesn't have to be a good message. So let's go implement this. We'll have asserts happen in my platform or my library thing. So we want a condition, and we want a message. And this is going to do something like this. Probably going to be LCA. Well, we'll want to. We probably don't want to delegate to just a function, but we might. We could just say like not. Then do the thing we want to do, which would be LCA assertion handler. And the assertion failure handler is going to want message in question, probably. It's going to want a condition as a string. We can build this up real quick. We want void this. Assertion failure handler is going to want car message, car expression. It's going to want int line and car file. Right, condition line file and maybe some extra information about like what kind of assertion it is, maybe. No, I think just a straight up assert is fine for these cases, and then if we want to do something more interesting, we'll put it in the compiler for like internal compiler errors. So then if I take this and we don't implement it somewhere way the heck down here, we're just going to start with string we call abort, which should exist, should be easily identifiable. Cool. We want to then def do standard error, something that ends in a new line. It'll be assertion failed with the message. And then we probably want actually file name colon line number colon assertion failed. And this could be formatted with, let me start putting that together. So we want to start with file line nc head nc reset message. After the new line, we can then do the expression. Right. So that can be our really simple assertion handler for right now. Make it more interesting later. So if I go back to my driver, we now have LCA assert this. Sure. So then we need to start parsing some arguments. Let me grab this. And we always want the program name, which should always exist. Then for as long as there are arguments, I don't need to mutate. This will be fine. Yeah, so argc greater than 0. Thanks. Yeah, I've been working on this for entirely too long, and I'm probably going to continue to work on it for entirely too long. It's gonna take a while. Hey, yeah, are you dying? Are you
tweaking, dude?
You tweaking? The hell? Why are you tweaking?
No, you don't. You don't even.
No, that's why I asked.
You don't know me?
I don't know.
I see.
See?
I see.
What do you see?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know what you see.
I don't know what I see.
Hello, Booley. How is it going? We're writing a compiler very slowly. We're just chilling.
I'm gonna go feed the dog.
Go feed that dog. What that dog doing?
Come here, dog.
We want arg to equal c. I equals c string. Saves me a little bit of brain. So let's see. What kind of arguments do we need for the Laye compiler? Help and verbose are obvious enough. Let me go grab just things that I want. So Laye args are here. We have the program name, which should be, that's a good point. It should be, I don't know what command is for here. I don't think I'm actually using it. Program name should be string view. So what is like the correct way to do that? String view from C string. That's what I want. Can't remember my own API. Oh, because it's right here. Cool. So then we want Laye source files, and only Laye source files, I think. So we have stuff like this. We want a dynamic array of things. Want those things to be source file info, maybe? I think it just needs to be a string view of the file name. For now. The driver needs to handle multiple different kinds of files, so I can pass them off to... Not the driver, the build tool. I mean, this driver... The Laye, trying to think of what needs to be responsible for what. I have a couple of different compiler drivers that we're working with. We have, I can even pull them up so that it's easy to see. Go. That's here. In, out somewhere. We have a couple of things. So Sicily is my C compiler driver. Sicily 1 is like the raw compiler itself. This will do whatever the fuck I want. This one will try to pretend to be GCC or Clang as best it can. Same thing for Laye C and Laye C1. Laye C1 will just be a dedicated Laye compiler. Laye C will try to also act like GCC or Clang to some extent. Basically just compatibility tools. So I'll be using Sicily and Laye as the primary things that have like legacy style command line options, probably. If I end up not doing that, just be folded into the same executable, no problem. The only difference is the entry point. So basically, I'm trying to see if I want Laye C to be responsible for compiling C files. That's what Sicily is supposed to be for. But if I'm using Laye C, really you should be using Laye, I guess. Laye is like the build tool that's responsible for all the input file types. So if you use a subcommand like Laye build, it'll look for a build configuration and follow that. If you just use it as a regular compiler, then it should delegate to Sicily or to Laye C to compile C and Laye files. I think. So if we're doing Laye C, we only care about Laye files, so I don't have to do anything here. So the build tool, on the other hand, does need this concept of a source input or a source file info. And that's going to come from here, which needs a source kind. So let me do this and this. And these will be. Hello, welcome back.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me on this evening.
Yeah.
I can see you being a talk show host.
I could.
I mean, not like a traditional. Maybe like a...
Oh, a sexy talk show host.
What?
Yeah, where's
I was going to say like a more like the Eric Andre type.
Oh, I could be Eric Andre. I wouldn't be a good Eric Andre. I'd be a very bad Eric Andre, but...
You'd just be weird, though. Like, that's the thing.
We'll leave them at the top. What is going on here? That's what. So then here, the Laye args don't need a command, but the build tool needs a command. We want help in verbose and use color for each of these. They're going to be very similar, probably. Use byte positions and diagnostics needs to exist for both. Okay, so then backend. Backend is really a liar construct. We need to know against liar supports, and to do that, it's a little easier on me. Liar.h. Liar should probably define what backends it supports. So like type def enum liar backend kind. This can say liar backend C or LPM or assembly or something, right? The default should be LLPM for now. We'll just make it the first one. I gotta stop talking or I'm gonna lose my voice. Okay, so you're back in. Okay, output file. I have a problem with how the hell I'm gonna handle output files. That's what I'm thinking about. For a C compiler, it is pretty obvious what an output file means in many cases. For Laye, really doesn't. I like KDE a lot more than GNOME, but I only use GNOME for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days total in my life. So it's not a very fair comparison. I've tried various Linux distributions and desktop environments in the past, but I've only recently fully committed, and Fedora with KDE was recommended to me, and I've really liked it. The only thing I've used for a long time before was the default Pop! OS installation, and I forget what environment uses. I think it's GNOME something, or I don't. It's definitely not KDE. At least not this kind of KDE. I didn't like that one at all. It was pretty jank. It worked okay, but yeah, KDE is my favorite so far. Okay, so what I was thinking though, output file. This makes sense still for many cases. What I'm thinking here, so everybody understands, is Laye files. It's not like a translation unit in C, where you just pass in one Laye file, get out another Laye file, or get out a JIT file or an assembly, like some assembly backend or something. Because you can import other Laye files, and you have to compile those as well, or at least get through SEMA, right, to know what something is. It's not just like parsing a header and all of that goes into a single translation unit, right? Every Laye file is like a C file, it's its own translation unit. So if we start importing other Laye files, then we need to know how to output each individual file if requested. And I'm not doing a very good job explaining this, but if I have, for example, if I call Laye to compile some Laye files, and I want to output foo from foo.laye, but foo.laye depends on bar.laye. Well, then I have to compile foo.laye, sure, yes, but I also have to get through at least the first half of the compilation stage for bar.laye. And since this is by default, I think this would always expect to output an executable, right? You'd have to do like S to get an object file, maybe question mark. Well, you definitely want to do what? C is the GCC style, the Clang style, the whichever style. This would give you 2.0, right? And then like S would be foo.s or something, if I'm remembering everything correctly. But then what happens to bar? Well, in these cases, foo is the only thing specified on the command line, so I'd imagine it's the only thing that gets output as a file. So if we say foo.s, then this is what this is. We just completely ignore bar. We have external references to it, but we just completely ignore bar. Then that makes sense. What if I do foo.laye bar.laye? Well, in this case, I think we have to assume that we're outputting a composite file like an executable, so we wouldn't be able to -s two files, at least not with a -o directive. We could probably do this to get foo.s and bar.s in the working directory, but I don't think we can do this. Right, and we could probably go test this. If I make a new tab here and see, let me see what I've got in temp here. We've got, let's just do like a foo c and a bar c. We'll do a main, just so I can test a few things. So we can main. It's small, I know. Give me just a second. We're gonna call foo and then bar. We're gonna declare foo. Actually, we can return, let's say, foo plus bar. I can make int foo int bar. Don't have to have headers here. So then bar is going to be int bar return 420 or something, or we'll make it return 35. And then foo is going to return 34. Okay. Then we can come over here and try something. So let's make this bigger. We can, Clang is the one I like using. Let's, if I o foo bar, but only try to compile, this would be like .o, right? And I said foo c bar c. This I would assume errors. Cannot specify o when generating multiple output files. Correct. Right. And then if you want to do an aggregate, you don't -c, because -c is going to generate an output file for each of those things. So then foobar needs to include main.c, or it'll have a linker error. If we do this, it won't link. That's why I made the main.c, because then we can foobar and we get not that. That's going to give me 0 again. 69. There we go. So this is the kind of behavior I have to think about for Laye files as well. If we're trying to get either an object file or an assembly file as the output, we need to make sure to actually handle the output file name. Now, if I wanted to, like, I don't, cannot specify O when generating multiple files, which is fair. If you wanted to do this, you'd have to cd to the directory you wanted. So I think we'll do the same behavior just to make life easier. We'll only output files that were requested. So the output file is here. If it's not empty, then it was specified. Outputting to standard out is the same thing. I don't know if we want to support outputting to standard out for multiple things. It just doesn't really make much sense to me, I don't think. So we'll just treat these the same. That's easy. Then this is only used if we're doing assembly. So let's think about how to rejigger this. We have a couple of steps we need to take. So let's do type def struct Laye compilation steps. So we can have Laye file step, which is just going to be parse. We can have a Laye compile step sema. We can have a Laye compile step irgen, a Laye compile step turning the IR into an assembly. So here's the problem, basically. irgen is not really a step we care about semantically in the compiler.
I do.
At least I don't think so. Said I was going to stop talking so much because my brain was, or my throat was going to start hurting. But complicated stuff to explain. We don't really need this. Because if we're emitting Lyre, then we'll. If we're emitting any assembly backend, we have to get to Lyre. So this would then need to be assemble, which are the requisite for assembly. Right, that's easy enough. And then we have compile step from full. So we're not actually assembling, we're outputting assembler. So assemble before we assemble, we want to code gen. Then we assemble. That's, I think, the steps we want. And once we assemble, we also want to. And these are the steps we want to. This is a struct, that's why it's complaining. In this order that we want to allow the user to control what's going on. So let's compiler step. And by default, it will actually want to link. We'll have to do that before I forget. No matter what we're doing here, args this always wants to link. That's one of our default things. Okay. This also needs to be this. So let's go ahead and do the like help. We'll set args help group. And if I do this, we get those true. So then let me see. Let me copy this whole thing here. So I'm going to start having them diverge pretty soon. For example, in the claim compatible one, -c means compile but don't link. So requested compiler step is going to be compile step. Should change the name of that field because it's wrong. Not parse, but assemble. If we hit -c, it's going to be assemble. If we hit -s, it's going to be code gen, right? So I can do something very similar up here, but we're going to call them something different. So here we want to say if, I'm just going to call them by name, code gen assemble. Link is the default. And then I can have two more. Parse. Parse, code gen, assemble. Those are the 4 steps. Then down here, S is the obvious one to do code gen. It emits the output file before compiling it. C is the assemble step, which gives you a .o file. If neither are present, you get an output file. If we wanted to do the equivalent of syntax only, then we want that to, I think, be just parse. But really, maybe it should be the equivalent of sema, and then we can have an additional one here for parse. And for C, these two will be the same, basically. But for Laye, we have this one. Okay. So else, let's handle the else before I forget. We just want to grab this. But then if we're doing override file kind here. And override file kind doesn't really need to be in the arguments table. So we can just grab it in the build step here. And override file kind will be fine. So then this one all the way down here, we're going to construct it, push it instead. That. This one's wrong because it's using Laye instead of Laye. Oh. The compat args parser is still not going to have this. That's right. No, that's fine. So this doesn't need to go here. These two are going to do exactly the same thing. Okay. So previously I've used --ast. We'll have to change that. E is for preprocess only, which doesn't do anything here. So we can just ignore it. -E doesn't do anything for Laye. That's fine. Then we can specify what assembly format we want to emit. So I can do that down in the compat one first. Compat we want C, then say backend question mark. Backend isn't really what's important, but I guess it is. Guess we set the backend and then set the compile stage to code gen as well. No, because this will imply. Interesting. So back here I have them separate, backend and emitting different. So like if I say emit C implies that we must be passing in -s. But I may still want to use a different backend. So I think this is correct, but also not correct. No, I think this is fine. If we say emit C though, then I want it to be, god dang, this is brain hurt. Let me go back to Clang here. If I say Clang emit LLVM, foo C, cannot be used when linking. Good, okay. So it's definitely doing some tracking here that I then if I say S, then we have foo a.out. Should be, nope, that's not what we want. Do we have a foo.ll? We do have foo.ll. So we have all these things. So if I do this, that's different from like a backend. Clang. I have a backend. They don't really, because they're just going to do whatever the fuck they do. If I say S, what is actually that's different. Let's go at the end. Where the fuck is just regular old S?
You gotta stop talking some.
I mean, like, it's just gonna find all of these again. 730 of them again. What do we have at the top here? In command line option. This might be better. No. This, yes, I found it finally. God. So Clang only uses LLVM, so it's really not going to do anything. That's with the space. It wasn't working with the space because there was a new line after. It returned 0. My space. It shows me down here, which I guess works. It didn't do that on the other page though. Thanks. So then if we do, yeah, so if syntax only is generating an O file, this one generates an assembly file or a LVMIR file. But it doesn't tell me in the documentation here that I can say emit. Okay. If I So my problem, what I'm trying to do here is not have to track a bunch of things, but I think I'm gonna know that emit C means switching the backend to C and also implying that this step needs to be here. So what I might just do is like C spells, because then I can say emit C is true, and then the backend is liar backend C. And then we can check at the end here when we're doing validation if emit C and not. I'll see the next thing I'm doing is I'm translating -s to compiler step, this requested compile step. But that doesn't mean that I know necessarily, I guess, that S was passed. But I can say, hey, if emit C and this is not equal to code gen, then we report an error. Some unknown error we haven't classified yet because I haven't thought that through yet. So if I do that, then we have log. So this would then say something akin to emit C. But I really want a different error for each of these code gen steps, right? So really, technically more correct if it's equal to first. So then when parsing, this, so let me get semi. code gen is fine. Assembling is technically what we want it to do. No, cannot use emit when assembling. I lied. And then when linking. Right, I think that covers those that we want. So I can do that, the same thing then. Boom, lots of validation. So LVM. So then here. No, can't be doing that. So then I can grab layer. Liar backend liar though doesn't make sense. So if we ask for okay. This is something I didn't consider either. If we ask for liar, we don't need to generate any other assembly output. We just skip this process. Because I could also emit assembly eventually, for example. Hello, Mr. Gigolo. Kilo JG gotten. Hello. If we ever were to emit assembly, which we should think about in the future. Right. Not all of these are 100% Clang. Don't get me wrong, but they're more Clang compatible to write this way. So that's what I'm getting at here. If I have a backend ASM, then that's a thing. So compile step is link, and the default backend should really be like liar backend none. Default none. I'm gonna call it the default liar backend. So if you say none, that doesn't really make sense when we're actually trying to emit liar as a backend, but we can use it as a flag here. Know that we don't want to convert to something else. And it's just one of the many assembly formats that we may or may not continue supporting. Right, these are mostly just going to exist as debug targets, basically. Not targets, but debug options. It'll really just be, do you want to emit the liar file itself in the future? Or, I guess, maybe. I don't know, actually. Maybe we keep all of these. Emit C might be useful, because we can hijack that for different kinds of code generation. So backend none. Let's fix that. So the default backend then shouldn't say none. Oh, wait a second. I mean, it's working now. By default, our backend should be LOBM. We can do this up here as well. Backend, a lot of copy pasting, don't get me wrong. So I might have to take the validation somewhere. Like I might have to create a state here for each of these though, that's not fun. I don't want to copy paste all of my validation for both, but I'm trying to get a handle on the hell I even want to do. And maybe this is all just not worth doing. Maybe this is telling me to fold the two together and to not have my own separate, which might be correct. That might be what I do. I might say fuck it and just use this compat args parse. Because now that I'm seeing what kind of validation we have to do, I don't know how to duplicate this work without it being verbose as hell. And yeah, I can add my own flags like this. Basically just whatever I'm doing here, copy it over here, make it better. I have. No, I really don't. All right, let's go into. Let me go take a look at this. So args parse, we want that. And then notably, the build tool arguments are also a thing. The build tool will want to have separate arguments, especially because we're going to want commands like build or clean or new or something, right? So I'm going to be duplicating some work there. But will I want the default, potentially, the default behavior of just calling Laye would probably still be as a compiler, so it could maybe say, hey, if you don't pass in a command, fall back to a version of the alt compiler here, maybe. Problem. That this version that I have highlighted doesn't support C files. So you know, now that I think about it, I have no reason not to support C files in the compiler. So maybe everything I'm doing here is kind of a waste of time. Here, hear me out. Fuck it. And fuck it. And fuck it. We're going to do this. And then come back over here. And we're going to fold together some of these checks here. So up to syntax only here. I can paste this here. So syntax only is sema, so that'll be this or this. Doing what I did before, right? So then code gen is S, and assemble is C. Sema, code gen, assemble. It gets us these again. Problem now is, yeah, right now we're working on my compiler, and since my brain is broken, I'm just doing the easy-ish stuff of working on refactoring my driver. But it is actually making me think too hard. So we're simplifying stuff right now. So new problem, now that we have this, we don't know if emit, well, I guess emit C is fine. If we ever wanted to report either of these, we'd want to track it. So far, we're not. So this should be fine, I think. This does mean we're going to have to go to knob C and change the build system. So the Laye compiler driver, I'm going to keep the legacy compiler driver for just a little bit. Laye compiler driver is Laye C1, but we don't actually want Laye C1 or Laye C. Both of them gone. Sicily compiler driver likewise will keep. Well, I mean, Sicily compiler driver will just be called this. Sicily compiler driver. So everywhere that we have Sicily driver project, that's actually fine. That's exactly what it's called. So then legacy 0 is our legacy one that I'm trying to port away from, but I'm keeping because it's used in tests. Then Laye, call it the build tool, but I really should just be like compiler. We'll call it the build tool. No, fuck it. We're just gonna call it compiler. We know it's a build tool, but I want to not worry too much about it. What it actually is. Then the execution test runners exist, and then that's good. Okay, so then this is Laye driver, and it does everything that we care about. And then we'll just take this, and then we come down here. So Laye compiler driver, Laye C and Laye C1 are gone. Sicily is gone. So we have Sicily, Laye C0, and Laye. I'm going to put Laye C0 first. Yep, I'm using Knob. It's a bit edited. It's not up to date. I haven't like grabbed a new version of Knob since many months ago, and I've made my own handful of additions to it. But yeah, this is Knob based. And I have some more work to do on the Knob build tool. I have a previous version of it, Knob 2C here, which has some additional commands that I haven't ported over yet as part of a refactor. Okay, so Laye C0 is still fine. Eventually we want to move to this once we've updated things. Okay, so then the next thing on my to-do list would then be to remove both of these, leaving just Laye. Then go grab no Sicily 1. What did I just do there? Did I delete it? It did. Okay. So what we want to do here is in Laye.c include H, and then everywhere that we have Sicily, basically. There. Laye args parser, and this will just be Laye args parse. Laye args parse default logger, cool, Laye main. Laye C. So then if we go back to Sicily here, we can also say Sicily args parse. We go into Sicily here. We don't want compat anymore. Hey, look, args log. I should probably do that. Then here we don't want that. Boom. How badly have I ruined everything? No such file. ISE, that's fine. Input files. So, I mean, it's fine, but it's not fine. What are we doing? Hold on. Here. Oh, I think this was wrong in the first place. That's not good. Okay, now what? Knob shift args. Oh, I don't have shift args in driver. Let me go to driver then. And each driver needs its own knob implementation. Probably. Well, okay, it needs knob, but it doesn't need the implementation. What does need the implementation is this, which has it. So that's fine. So then, Laye driver O is missing. Knob shift args here needs reference to each knob. But I don't need knob, no, because I have LCA shift args, that's right. That. Okay. Double check, because my build system is not perfect. Okay, there are some errors. Laye build tool.o. What the hell? I think I know why. Build tool.c doesn't need to exist anymore. And build tool die. And still an error somewhere up there. No such file, Laye compiler. Redefinition of color never. Oh, correct. So then what I want to do is here. It should be use color. And I can try to build like this. Okay. Beautiful. Then if I last out, we should only have Sicily, Laye, and Laye C0. If I out Sicily, it should say hello, Sicily. Laye, it should say hello, Laye. Cool. And Laye C0 will give us actual stuff because it has an implementation in it. Here again, check on. Okay. Father, what are you doing?
Hey, Peku Logando.
Oh, you're still Peku Lagando.
I'm just apparently helpful with this one.
Oh, so you're not winning?
Huh?
You're not winning?
No, I'm getting like a kill on that.
Hmm.
Not about it.
Okay. So, despite this compiling, this is not happy. So let me uncomment this, leave it there, and go to.
God, I suck at the way made.
I can do that. Okay, fixed. Perfectly good. So.
Please.
Huh?
I just said, please, God, let me hit.
Oh, that you hit? I'm not gonna let you hit. You don't deserve it.
Why? No.
You don't deserve it.
Yes, I.
Okay, input files we have up there. C translation units we're actually going. Okay, so if Laye is going to be responsible for building C files, which it should be, we will need translation units. So I guess this means we should also be including Sicily again, which is fine. I just didn't think I would do that, but now that we've changed the plan, we're doing that. So we do want to include some things here. I don't know that we want to include the translation unit yet, but
I think we should, just in case.
you know, you're right.
You never know when it might show up, you know?
This is for arguments, though, not for the actual state, so I don't need to put it here. We might put it elsewhere, but not here. So for now, actually, we don't need Sicily. That's fine. We'll put that in the driver entry point. Same with all of these. We do want each of these. We want to include directories, library directories, and link libraries. And we don't want any of these. Okay. So those are all the args we have so far. If I go back in, this is the implementation here of so we've got a handful of stuff here that we can copy over. Byte diagnostics. I forgot about byte diagnostics.
How'd you end up doing that?
Oh, because I forgot. Put them up here.
Oh.
So if it equals a C, byte diagnostics. Return on byte diagnostics. Easy. Backend. X? What does X do? X is okay. X is for file stuff.
He's just gonna give it to you.
X is going to give it to you. So I need my source file info instead of my input. Which means that I do need to come over here. Yeah, the idea. Override file kind. And I call the kind. Yeah. Kind. So then this is my source file kind. File kind. Gonna be default, just to be explicit. Push input files. Correct. Is it still called input file names? Of course it is. We called input files now. Okay. So that gets us that information back, which is good. So then I can also copy this error here. We can even make it one of the first ones. If input files and not help, then logger files given. That. Instead of returning false, we'll return an unknown error. And once we get some errors in place, we can start classifying them just in case it's necessary. Okay. Cool, no input files given. Then if I say Laye, a leak, that's fine. So we're not freeing the args yet. That is good to know. We want to avoid Laye args. Boom, boom, boom. So let's see, free args food directories. Then we want to input files, library directories, and link libraries. So we can go to Laye here. So Laye main takes in the args. So we can say LCA destroy, something like that. Okay. Unknown crash on address, interesting. Args destroy. Let me instead say int is returning results and then just to make my life a little bit less. Okay, that actually did fix the problem. That's good. So then program name is now changed, and this is in this file even. It's getting lucky, but this should be dot star. And LCA star expand. Okay. Time being, let's do that. Oh. Cancel. Okay, so then I have log. We want it to be able to pass. So everywhere here that we're calling the logger, we want to be this. Because we could pass null if we don't want to output anything. Then now we've got our main driver entry point, which just does stuff that exists library itself. That's good. We can now go do link libraries needs L. So if it starts with L, and it isn't just L, ooh, that's a thing, right? Because, oh, hold on. If we go back to playing here, find like L something that doesn't really exist here. What about elder? Okay. Library directory. Both of those are supported. That's fair. Okay. And then larg. Okay. So that's actually all it supports. That's fair. Then we can do that here, and we can say name is this. Then we can do if library is 0. Then we can do an error. Else we push library name. Now, problem is I can't actually do formatting with my argument. It's kind of annoying. So I think we'll want ... and instead of message like this, I think we'll want to do I have an let's see, format? I do. So we'll want to expand this to format message and with a opt. We're in C23. This. So then all of these will still work. But now I can also do stir expand library name. Say, well, no, I don't. You know, I didn't even need it for this use case, so I don't know why. Args log expected to close blue. Oh, you know, because logger, my logger here takes in a car message. So instead of LCA string format, I don't think I have. So string format here, I think, uses temp vs printf. That's what I want. Do I have a temp as printf? I do have a temp as printf. So instead of returning a string format, we're going to do temp as printf. So what now? Still expected a thing. If logger 1, 2. I mean, oh, you know, that's why, because I spelled VARs wrong. That gives us formatting now. Okay, so Laye args log. We can just say, so like, I mean, what if I do that in Clang here? If I argument to L is missing expected value. You know what? Copy, paste. And what I can do down here is we can say, error. You know, something I'm not doing actually is saying if it's an error. So args log could be args log, and args error could be something else. So then I could say, look, temp s printf has message, but message should probably be required to be a string literal, first of all. And then second of all, I could say log colon and see red. This would be for space NC set this. So then everywhere that we've currently got log is an error. Well, if we want to log something that's not an error, like usage, then do that separately. Well, usage will still use the logger, but it won't use one of these. So then if I do Laye, we say Laye message file, Laye driver. What did we mess up? Must specify at least one. What the hell? What? That's not true at all. It's variadic for a reason. Is this just because it's like a warning from pre-C23 or something that's turned into an error? Because we have VA opt, so we don't need to always have one. I've never had this error before. So if I say hold on. Go into knob, go to cflags. Set v on unknown address. Okay. Yes, printf. $80. No input files given. Sure, no input files given. So what's wrong? What the heck? BS printf 684. Oh, you know what I forgot to do, boys? I don't have a temp allocator in driver here. Laye main exists, but let me go to laye.c. So temp allocator in it, first of all. So I should do that in sysly.c as well. Temp allocator in it, then I can int results is this, and return the results, and sysly args destroy this later. Okay, don't need this, don't need this, don't need this. Did need that actually, but that's fine. What about now? No input files given. Oh. New question. There we go. Not a question anymore. Cool. So. Now we need X dash L is the same way, right? Here's library directory. So I'm doing dash L differently. Dash L needs to be big L and little L need to behave basically the same thing. So this is which I should have done this to. This will be directories. That. Okay, so then I can do something like aborted core dumped. Oh, if I try to slice to 0, it fails. So this assert is just bad. It needs to be equal to, like that. String view slice. I don't think headers are properly accounted for like they should be. There. Argument to L is missing, expected one value, and no input files. Do the same thing for L. No, cool. And I can say, oh, foo C is going to work, but it shouldn't. We need to say then, well, no, it should. If I said, foo C foo Laye bar Laye, that's what should fail. So then what we want to do is, if this is greater than 1, and we're not linking, so then that's ours requested compile step is not equal to compile step link. Then we want to say, let's just copy it from thing again. O foo C bar C. Cannot specify O when generating multiple output files. Right. I think that'll be correct. If we run this, cannot specify O and generate multiple files, but if I do this, it's only for 1. Oh, we're not handling O yet. That's a problem. No, we are handling. Oh, so what we want to do is then also say, because we're not handling O for sure, we want to then say args output file 0 and this, right? So now we need to handle -O, which is this. And we actually have 2 cases for -O, but we'll start with this one. -O, if it's equal to -O, then output file, okay. Then this becomes error. So if I do playing O, argument to O is missing expected. Trying to like give you the kinds of errors that you'd expect from playing or GCC, and for right now we're choosing to copy play. So then instead of returning false, you don't have to return anything. But we do want to return. We just want to return multiple errors if we can. So really, what we want to do is instead of returning, we want to say int result or something. Result is args okay. So then we can say, in cases like this, the error is well, generic error, I think is what we want there. No, I guess not. Unknown error, unknown error. Then unknown error, unknown error, error, error. Boom, boom. In my room. And finally, because we copied over knob shift args from somewhere. So this is ch shift args. This. Okay, so then this is fine. Bar Laye should cause cannot specify O when generating multiple elements. Then O should say O is missing expected value and no input files given. Sure. I'm fine with all that. Then if I say C, it's just going to say no input files given. Okay, so we're making some slightly better progress here. I like my error handling better. So we've been going an hour and a half. Hour and a half. C code's not scary. C code is very simple. I'm tired and trying to work on my code, so I'm streaming to encourage myself to do it. How about you? Let's do X. Should be able to copy most of X without any problems. He's going to give it to me after all. So if it equals a C string, oh, I should do that for this one as well. Equals C string. Preparing for an exam. Hey, I got recommended. Let's go. Yeah, today might not be 100% indicative of what I normally do. Like I said, I'm really tired and I'm just kind of doing low-hanging fruit today, but we're building a compiler. So I'm improving the interface to the compiler to make my life a little easier in the future. Is X a thing that happens for Clang as well? Can I say Clang X? Yeah, so it's just going to be exactly the same thing. So we can grab this, say X is missing. So instead of knob shift args, LCA shift args. Hey, wait, not only were you recommended, but you clicked on a video that just said code. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Does my thumbnail show up? Can I show that to anybody who wasn't looking at it? That's not what I wanted. That thumbnail. Hell yeah. That's worth it. So source Laye, source liar, and source default. So if hi Prime, how you doing? Override file kind is one of these. So then we want to grab, this needs to be args error. Like this. This is probably something I can snag from Clang as well if I wanted to. So if we say Clang X foo, language not recognized foo, that is totally usable. I will take that. Language not recognized. Yes. And that is backend. Now that's entirely wrong. It shouldn't be called backend. I completely fucked that up over here. That's here we can say LCA assert. Yeah. Then instead of returning false, we want to say error unknown, which means well, don't return false, return unknown. But I think at this point we do want to do in some of these cases actually, or at the very least just say else. Put all this in there. Not afraid of nesting my code. If I say XC, then we're just on no input files. So then if I say X, we get argument X is missing, and X foo, Language not recognized. Foo, that's pretty good. This override file kind lets us say what kind of source file we're passing in. So if we say like x Laye foo dot something, it knows that foo dot something is a Laye file. Any guide for new programmers how to be good like you? Ugh. Keep programming, learn from your mistakes, don't be afraid to fail. I have no guide. I didn't learn from any one guide in particular. I just spent the past 10 to 15 years of my life wanting to do something, trying it out, seeing what happened, and learning from it. Pick something, stick to it long enough to learn something from it. Don't be afraid to change it if you don't like it. Find people to ask questions that are more specific than, what do I do? You can join my Discord if you want. We've got lots of smart people. If you have long form questions, you can just post right here. And like recently somebody says, hey, we've been wondering how better to handle parser errors in my compiler. And we had a huge discussion on all kinds of things you can do and pros and cons and whatnot. Or you can just ask anywhere. I talk a lot in development. We've got people talking here. Link is in the description. You can go find other people who do the same thing. It's not just me. Just go find a place to talk and ask questions, and don't be afraid to fail. Don't look for a one-size-fits-all solution to anything. I don't know. That's all I got. I'm not going to pretend that I know better. So this works now. And what else am I missing? Let me know if the link doesn't work. Apparently sometimes it just chooses to expire. We can color stuff. Yellow. Post about when I'm going live over here. I don't go live as often as I would like. I keep trying to, I'm just busy. Join too. No real rules. I should probably post the rules. Don't be a dick. I'll post rules eventually. But yeah, ask any questions you want. Talk about whatever the hell you want in here. Everybody here loves to program, and we're all working on crazy, weird projects. Yeah, no problem. You can do anything you want if you just are willing to fail, basically. That's advice for life in general, not just for programming. Don't be hard on yourself. Okay, so we can specify a backend as well, which is probably worth doing while I'm thinking about it. So let's copy X, because it's clearly what I did before. Backend, argument to backend is missing expected one value. So then here, now I can call this backend. So then if the backend is C, then we want to say args backend is backend C. We can have a few different kinds of backends. We can have C, LLVM. None doesn't really need to exist, so that's fine. And assembly. Like that. Backend not recognized, that's fine. Okay, so then we can try something. Backend not recognized. But backend assembly means we're going to output assembly files. Backend liar doesn't make sense because that's the default. Well, liar is the thing processing the code, rather. LLVM is the default for now. That's fine. And backend C. Boom. Now I'm curious, actually, if I say clang ASDF, unknown argument ASDF, I should probably do that. Right. If it starts at all with a hyphen, unless I assume this. There we go, yeah. So that's the next thing. So we want bool force value args or something equals false. So then we can grab. I'll make it the first one here. Just say if this else force value args is true. So then if force value args, and we can go to arg value. Another fun thing, I'm not afraid of goto. We are going to goto all over the place. Arg is value, info, okay, so now we know it's a value. Since we know it's a value, we have a couple of options. Goto, not that harmful, don't worry about it. We're going to be using goto to implement defer as well. We're going to go to a label up here later, if ever we need to. How many times have I used goto in this compiler? Goto 82 results, but not all of them are actual gotos, but you can see a lot of gotos here. I'm not afraid of goto. Don't use them all over the place, but sometimes goto is better than what you got. My programming language Laye will also support goto. We will have a very structured goto that works with like scope exit and stuff as well. It'll take a while, sure, to get it right, but we'll do it. We'll make it work. Yeah, lots of goto. Again, it's not that many. It says 82 results in 10 files, but a lot of them are, hey, goto is going to exist in the compiler. Here's the tokens for goto. Here's the tokens for goto. Here's a block for goto. Not a block, a syntax node for it. Right. Here's handling printing goto, which has a goto in it, sure. Here's, again, syntax nodes for dependency checking. So, I mean, of those 82, probably only like 60 of them, which is still, sure, a lot, but not all of them. Okay, what was I doing? We just implemented the backend flag, right? So if it's not yet known to be a value, then we want to say else if string view starts with, I'll just copy this whole thing here. If it just starts with a hyphen at all, then we're going to report an error. We can just, so we're going to say unknown argument this mod s expand arg. Is that what Clang said? Unknown argument colon. Okay. Then I probably also want to check if a thing exists. Do I have exists? First of all, that's sadly incorrect. LCA file exists like that. Okay. So then, for the time being, we assume that everything is a source file. So we can say if not, LCA file exists, string as cstring, arg. And I can report that the file doesn't exist. String view cstring arg, which is going to use the temp allocator. Oh, that's not going to use the temp allocator. Then we can say, now we'll copy everything except for we'll remove the word directory. No such file. Let's start s. And then at that point, we can say else. Try to process it. Error. We're going to stop trying to do anything. Let's do the same test over here. Make sure that we have it updated. Linker command, LCA file exists. I'm out. Again. Okay. So now we can say, foo, unknown argument foo, and I should also be able to do no such file foo. Cool. This is already significantly more robust than the original parser was here, and we've only done a handful of things differently. So right, coloring. We don't have coloring yet. Does Clang have color stuff? easy to find. Clang color, unknown argument color, color, unknown argument color. Okay, let's go see color. Does Clang have F color diagnostics? Okay. Enables colors. And then equals arg. I don't know what it allows. If I say F color diagnostics color equals foo. Interesting. I know probably like yes, no, and auto or something. I mean, that's not going to help me, is it? It's just going to be the same thing. Command line options doesn't exist here. Okay, we're just going to use like a always, never auto, I think, is what we've decided on before. So if we take a couple of things here, we can just hard code them all in. So let's do right here, we're going to say F. Actually, let me pull this back up because there were a few. F diagnostics color equals something is going to be one of them. But the other ones are F color diagnostics, F diagnostics color, and F no color diagnostics. Sure. So F color diagnostics. If it's F color diagnostics, then color equals color voice. If it's F no color diagnostics, won't be ever. Then if LCA view starts with arg, LCA string const, sp constant, F diagnostics color, and it's going to start as always, right? F diagnostic color, yep. Start with always, but then we can say somewhere down here we've got this. So then we can say, actually, now I'm curious. If I say this, that's not going to do anything to me. What if I say that? Unknown argument. Did you mean? Interesting. Okay. So I'm not handling equals correctly, basically, which is something I should probably do. If it starts with F diagnostics, then what I'm going to do is say just error on anything that looks invalid. So string view slice is going to be 19 -1. Then if not, you still win in bed?
Never was.
God damn it.
Yep.
So now we want this to be called. If it's not equal to 0, then we're going to match it on if the substring equals auto, for example, and then else. If it fails all of our tests, then we're going to say unknown argument and just handle that manually for now. You can even include a to-do. Early handle equals, which we might not even have to do. This might be sufficient. If it's always, then we leave it at always, or auto. If it's auto, we set it to auto. If it's equal to this, always. If it's never, never. Okay. So then, let's say f color diagnostics works. Color diagnostic doesn't exist. F. No color diagnostics, sure, great. And then F diagnostics color works equals auto works. Auto 2 does not. So auto did not work. F diagnostics color works. Auto did not work though. Unknown argument. F diagnostics color. So string starts with arg. If I do that. Okay, so it's hitting this case. Oh, because I'm still hitting arg, that's why. Okay. So now auto works, but auto 2 doesn't. Boom. Cool. So now we've got diagnostic coloring in here. Then things E. We do want to reintroduce E to preprocess. So down here we've got these steps here. We want to include preprocess now because we're compiling C files as well. So parse doesn't really exist for C, and E preprocessing doesn't really exist. Laye, but the two need to be supported by the same driver, so we can say preprocess. Process. Good. There we go. But then I have to come all the way the heck down here. So I think what I need to do here is actually say we need a way to turn compilation step into a string. So down here, and we'll return a constant. But then this can go into driver, put it way down here at the bottom somewhere. Switch step base. Let me move this over to here then. Boom. Base preprocess, return preprocessing. Parsing. Analyzing. Code. Assembling. Linking. But assert plus unknown or unhandled step. We can do this. Oh, that okay. So then everything we're doing here, what we really want to say is if it's not equal to a compiled step. Again, right, for emitting C, we want to generate the code but not assemble. It's not equal to this, and we would say this, and then compile step to C string. Call it compilation step when it should be compile step to C string. So we'll get that in just a second. Yes. So then get compile step C string, which is not exactly what it should be, maybe, but it's fine. So then we can do exactly the same thing. Yeah. Or emit Laye, or emit. That simplifies lots of things. So if we now try, okay, what s emit Laye should work, other than, oh, we failed somewhere else. Undefined reference to compile step to C string. So this one works. S is, oh boy, S is fine. D doesn't work. E, I think we want to put no input files given at the very bottom. It just makes more sense. And we should probably also only do this if it's not equal to args, okay? To be a little bit more. Or is equal to. If it is okay, then we'll repart it. Okay, so Laye can't be used when pre-processing. That is fine. What about analyzing? Sure. And syntax only. Also analyzing. Okay. Parsing. Sure. And when linking, I assume as well. Cannot be used when linking. Beautiful. Works for everything else. Cool. Great. Okay, so what else? Submit. STA verbose help. Nice, thanks. I've never put this much work into the command line parser. Oh, we need include files. Include directories, rather. So include, now I'm curious, because I believe we want to support both, right? L very clearly, apparently, according to the docs, doesn't support a space. But what about I? IDER. So I mean, L probably does. Restrict all prior I flags to double-quoted inclusion. Remove current directory from include path. Interesting. I'll have to figure that out eventually. These in the order they're given for the standard system. Me going for study again. Thanks for giving me a refreshment. Watch the stream after the exam. All the best. Thanks. Your day and night. Yeah, have fun with your study. Good luck on the exam. I was a bad studier. Be better than me. So, I mean, this probably means we want to support L both. Let me see. Lang. Keep these separate so I can reread. If I say L, argument to L missing. If I say L foo, it does support a space. I'll have to do both. So we want, if it starts with, if it equals, and if it starts with are two different things. So let's do that. And then we'll copy what we have. So does that work for L as well? If I say clang L, cannot find L foo, no such file or directory. Okay. So it does work for all of those. That's gonna cause me some headaches. So let's start with L. If it starts with, we're gonna put separately to equals. Equals L. Then we want to do this stuff. Argument L is missing expected one value. So then what if I say L? Actually, it doesn't care. Okay, so that's fine. Argument L is missing. Otherwise, it's fine. We just grab. Do I have a better? No, I don't. Okay, so then we're just going to push this. Okay, so then that's that for L. Let's copy all of L. I. Then instead of library directory, this is include. This is include. So then if we hit L equals lowercase a, and L is missing. I just want to replace this with link libraries. job still builds, so then we can say L is missing. Who fixes it? Who fixes it? I is missing. Then X. Who? Cool. Again, not the best way to handle this parsing. We're not like building a parsing library. I've done that in the past and it's mostly okay, but it gets hard to handle these kind of starts with scenarios. So do the manual work for right now. Then so that's L, that's I. I can go ahead then and say if it starts with I. Actually, hold on. Yeah, let's come up here. So if it equals I.
Wait a minute.
Hello.
Get ready to go pick up work.
Okay.
Talk to you later, man.
Okay, goodbye. Let's leave. Alrighty. Then that. It's open. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do is equals include directory, I think is what we're looking at. Then we want to do something similar here. So if it equals include directory, then we want to push include directories from here. But if it starts with include directory, we want to do something else. We want to do, let's grab starts with again. So this one's going to starts with include directory equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. Perfect. Cool. So then we have that for include directory. And we can probably do something for okay, so I didn't update this one. Okay. That's fine. That's okay. That's okay. So then I probably need to do something similar for library directory, right? Exactly the same thing for library directory. Here. So include here. 8, 4, 5, 7. 1, 2, they're even the exact same length. Then I can do library directory. Library directory. Cool. What did I do in Sama? Oh, okay. That's that. Do that. You can find the source to this in the description, by the way. I've got a link to my GitHub as well as this project, which is under Laye. This one. We don't have subcommands yet for the build tool. We will want to be able to do that eventually, but this is the non-command stuff. Okay. Just do that and have something to work with. While we're here, actually, on test, make sure that nothing's broken, because I did technically refactor some things. Okay. Why did they fail? I probably need to. That would be why. Let me rm test out. Much better. Constructors, I think, had some small issues I had to fix, so that's fine. I didn't change anything except for the CMake list, so git. Okay. Boom, perfect, great. Now. Do I want to keep going? We've done basically everything I wanted for porting over argument parsing. There's more I could do, but I've been going for 2 hours. I think I'll call it there and go rest. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Like you've seen, you can join the Discord, talk to a bunch of other programmers and stuff. Lots of help if you need it, lots of discussion if you want it. You can find the source code in the description as well on my GitHub. I'm gonna go relax. Thanks for stopping by.